Let's end this fucking trip. Hi. For the last 4 videos, you've seen me go to lots of different spots in Japan, from Osaka to Tokyo, from the G1 Climax to Disneyland, and now we're ready to wrap this up in our final episode of the Japan vlog. Now, I thank you all very much for watching my journey from the last few weeks. This vacation really did a lot for me mentally, to just kind of be able to rediscover who the hell I was, like, and kind of rediscover, like, what truly makes me happy. And it's just been really cool to kind of reflect over this trip one more time with all of you guys. To really put in perspective how much this trip has really done for me. Like, we've done a lot this trip, and while it's sad for it to come to an end, at this point of the trip, I was very ready for it to be over. But we've got 4 more days ahead of us, so let's go over them. Today, on this particular day, it was my final day in Tokyo before going back to Osaka to finish off the trip. But I kind of just wanted to walk around and reminisce in the wonderful trip that I've had so far. But at the end of the day, I visited the Pokemon Cafe and had a very wonderful meal to end my time in Tokyo. But of course, while we're talking about Pokemon, of course that means there's another Pokemon Center to go to. And I'm not gonna lie, this store had a lot of really, really cool stuff. But I didn't grab too much because at this point, I am very, very quickly running out of money. And my suitcase is starting to slowly get full. So I had to choose the size and the weight of my items and the cost of them very wisely. I did, however, walk away with this really lovely Pokemon Center DX pin. And I also went ahead and got this really nice Charizard coaster that sits very lovely on my desk permanently now. I also got this little soy sauce tray because I thought, you know, that's a very unique kind of souvenir to take home. I'm bringing home the Kirby chopsticks. Why not something for my soy sauce too? But anyway, then I tried to enter the Pokemon Cafe at my designated time, and then realized I completely fucked up my reservation by booking the month before my stay. That was very lovely to find out as I'm standing in front of the staff going, I would like a table, please. And she has to look me in the looks me in the eyes with a smile and say, no. So I went over to this kind of like standby line, so if anyone hadn't shown up for their reservation 10 minutes prior to commencing, that I was allowed to take their seat. And thankfully, I guess a few people decided not to show up, or they didn't have enough people for this particular session. So they gave me a seat, I got to hang out with my new friends, and then I went ahead and ordered my food. And they did give me this little special menu that had dishes inspired off this one particular Pokemon. They did let me take this little menu home. But I wasn't interested in that shit. I went straight to the normal menu. The first thing I had was this Pikachu plate that had a really nice Pikachu on it that died immediately. And it had this, like, meat patty thing on it. I really don't know what it was. It was just Charmander, so I just went, yay, Charmander! Die. But then eventually they also brought out my dessert, which I ordered the parfait. That was very, very rich. It was a little hard to eat, as it was incredibly rich, but it was delicious, so I definitely finished it. While this was all happening, Pikachu came out and said hello to everyone. Obviously, this cafe is meant for children and, like, families and such to kind of just have a really nice time together. But yeah, this Pikachu mascot came out, and the staff member and Pikachu are doing this little dance and, like, teaching everyone this dance. I'm going, okay, I wonder where this is going. And they start fucking singing If You're Happy and You Know It. Clap your fucking hands. This was too fucking funny. And again, this place is for kids, so it's like, I mean, what else are you gonna do besides, you know, just join in and have some fun? This restaurant is incredibly wholesome. Please, if you're a Pokemon fan, please give this place a try. It is 100% worth it. The food may not be Michelin star 8+ worthy, but the atmosphere of this place will capture your heart for sure. I can guarantee you. But with that being said, we did say goodbye to Tokyo, headed to the bullet train, and headed back to Osaka. And to be honest, I really didn't do much on this day. It was the next day, and I went to my new hotel room to find the single worst fucking bed I have ever stayed at in a hotel. Probably in my life. My back still fucking hurts and is not recovered from the... Basically, the room was very traditional. So essentially, I was just sleeping on the fucking floor. But anyway, after having a bit of rest and not going to the shower because I learned that this was a shared shower, so God fucking help me as well, I mainly just looked around at a bunch of suragayas for the day, because there's like fucking 5 of them in Osaka. In this one area that I'm in, there are 5 of these fucking things. And no matter where I fucking went, I kept finding hidden gems. I can't fucking help myself. Please send help. But to be honest, I didn't find a lot that was really tempting. I did find a soundtrack for Sonic Frontiers that was like $130, which usually I would jump at the chance to own another Sonic soundtrack. But to be honest, this one was pretty much on the dot for what I could pay for back if I was just to get it while I'm back here at home. I could go online to like PlayAsia and pretty much get it for the same price. So I put that one back. Another one that I found that was very tempting that I do kind of regret not picking up was this copy of Shantae Half Hero Genie. That was like, from memory, like I think like $40 something. I'll put on screen whatever it was. And after looking on eBay, yeah, I definitely regret not bringing that one home. That would have been a very cool addition to my Switch collection. But I didn't really want to buy anything on this day just so I can kind of I kind of wanted to keep my options open. So in case I found a hidden gem, you know, I could invest the money into that. And thank God I did, but more on that later. I decided to end the day by going back to the movie theater and just watching Deadpool and Wolverine and just kind of doing a normal theater experience. Which again was still incredibly good. I got this really yummy hot dog. And a drink, and just watched Deadpool and Wolverine with Japanese subtitles on it. The next day, I decided to take a little excursion to Kyoto. Now, Kyoto has been somewhere I've been wanting to go to for a very long time now. It was somewhere I originally wanted to go on my initial trip to Japan, but due to just feeling absolutely exhausted and worn out because we didn't book enough rest days, God help me, we decided to skip it. But this time, I am completely alone and have all the power to decide how I exhaust my body. So, I went over, caught the bullet train. At least, that's what I want to say, because I had to go fucking buy like an extra fucking ticket that I didn't have to buy for all my trips before, but apparently I had to try for this one. A very fucking... I had a really frustrating day this day, and I think the footage perfectly reflects that. That today was a bit frustrating because nothing went according to plan for me today. To start off with, when I tried to get on the bullet train, I bought my ticket. The guy stopped me and told me that I needed a second ticket. And I'm going, why do I need a second ticket? I'm not that fucking fat, asshole. But apparently I accidentally picked the option that I only got half of the ticket that I actually need, and I had to go get the other half from a separate booth, kind of at like a tourism customer service, which was like another 15-minute long fucking queue. Okay, whatever. Now we're on the train and we're going to Kyoto. I've got my sandwich. everything should be fine from here, right? Nope. Then, later on in the day, as I was exploring at Eden, mainly for the air conditioning, I tried to get a reservation at Kichikichi's restaurant, who sells his world-famous omelette rice, and I really, really wanted to try that beautiful omelette rice. But my thing failed to load quick enough, and all the reservation times just gone. Without a trace, just gone. So, yep, I wasn't having any Omni rice while I was on this trip either. Come on, man, just give me something! Today really wasn't my day. And to be honest, I really didn't get to do everything I wanted to do. There was a lot of places I wanted to go to. But the more I walked around, the more I realized in order to really, truly experience Kyoto, I'm going to have to spend multiple days here next time I come over. That's not to say I didn't do nothing. Just in order to go to the more sightseeing tourism spots I really wanted to visit while I was here, it's something I'm just going to have to save for next time. Because if I try to do everything today, I'm just going to end up hating myself for doing so. But so anyway, I headed on over to the brand new Nintendo store that only opened at about the end of 2023. And I'm not going to lie, this was definitely my favorite store out of the three. Not only is this one got a lot more room in it for people to roam around, so you're not really fighting the crowd, but even had an array of unique merchandise like fans and other sorts of items that are exclusive to the Kyoto store. Now, I didn't get any of these items because these were like ridiculously fucking expensive. Like I think they wanted like $100 for like a tie and like $80 for just a paper fan, which could just fall apart on me at any time. So, yeah, I really didn't go for the exclusive merchandise on this one. I did grab a couple of things though. For example, I grabbed myself a Kyoto shirt, completing the trifecta of Nintendo shirts. So I now have the Osaka, Tokyo, and Kyoto Nintendo shirts. So I've got the complete trifecta. Now, I also really didn't go for that many big items because, like I said, I am very quickly running out of room in my luggage. I did get this character towel that did have like the designs that were on the glass windows of the entry to the shopping center, to the shop. And I also got a couple of magnets while I was at it. But this store had a lot more variety than what I was able to pick up. Okay, this place had a ton of stuff. Lots of Zelda stuff, lots of stuff for the Splatoon Grand Festival. A lot of amiibo, as always. This place even had the 4-pack of the champions for Breath of the Wild. So badly I wanted to pick that one up, but again, I'm running out of money! They also had these Super Famicom controllers, as I was actually able to play the Nintendo World Championships NES Edition with some of the locals, and absolutely kicked their ass! But still, this was a really cool shop. It's definitely the best Nintendo store out of the three. If you're only able to go to one of these stores on your trip, save all your money for the Kyoto store. Trust me, it'll be worth it. But anyway, I also headed downstairs in the same building, because as I was coming up, I noticed this kind of like retro memorabilia store as I was going up the elevator. I'm like, okay, let me go check that out after I'm done. And I did. And I really regret checking it out because there was a lot in here I wanted to buy. They had lots of really cool pop culture merchandise, some international merchandise as well. I found this like Batman Arkham City action figure. That was really, really cool, but wasn't really that worth getting it there and then. But also a bunch of soundtracks, a bunch of CDs, games, statues, Dragon Ball playing cards. There was one thing in here though that really broke my heart that I had to leave behind, because as you know, I have been looking all over for a really cool Danganronpa thing to take home, and what did I find at this store?
This one really hurts. I've been looking for Danganronpa figures for this entire trip, and now that I'm out of space, I've finally found one that I was looking for. and it's so insanely cheap. And even like not far away from her, we've got this really good Junko, and it's only 60. That would still be like a good 120 bucks back home. That Kaide one is like 350 back home, and it's here for only 150. This store has incredibly good prices. Old Dragon Ball cards, like the actual old trading cards, not like the card game that exists now. They've got games for cheap. They've got soundtracks. They've got so much. I'm actually really annoyed right now. I'm actually so incredibly annoyed.
God, it sucked leaving that Kaede fucking statue behind. Because I love Danganronpa V3. Not a lot of people say they love V3. I really, really liked V3. Because that game had so many twists and turns. Like, the game's basically all about, like, lying. To the point where the game just ends up being just one big lie. And it was really cool. It was a complete mindfuck of a game. It's not very popular, mainly because of its ending. But I thought the ending led to, like, I don't know, it opened a few doors for a lot of realm of opportunity. But I'm not here to give spoilers on that. Anyway, I left in there and decided to cheer myself up with some sushi. At least I fucking tried to. So I didn't realize I accidentally pressed yes to having little bits of wasabi hidden in all of my fucking sushi. Because I got like an assortment platter that had just like a bunch of different kinds of sushi on it. And granted, they were all delicious. I poured my soy sauce. I took one big bite. And then my tongue felt like it caught on fucking fire. Even when eating amazing food, I still couldn't catch a fucking break from just bullshit happening on this day. This was not my day. As you can tell, I haven't had a lot of luck today, as a lot of stuff I wanted to do is either not open, or is way too damn far away. But then, as I was walking around, exploring all the different streets, and seeing all the beautiful ancient architecture that's just kind of been left intact, and the city's just kind of built around it, I stumbled upon another little store, and I wonder what won. This one was, granted, a lot smaller than a lot of the other ones we've been to so far. This is probably the smallest one that we've been to on the entire trip. But this one had a lot of really cool variety. Like some really cool retro controllers, some collector's edition, like this Bayonetta 1 and 2 and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But not a lot of everything else. That was until I found these. I found not one, not two, but 3 Sonic soundtracks. And all 3 of them, I don't have. Son of a bitch. The first one I spotted, which was just amazing to me and immediately captured my eye, was this 20th anniversary edition of the Sonic Adventure 1 soundtrack. And oh my fucking god, is this soundtrack incredibly hard to find. And they only wanted like $89 for it. Then I keep looking and I find this Sonic X CD. Which honestly only had like 3 songs on it and they wanted like $80 for it still. But it was still such a rare kind of thing to find. Like, you don't find this stuff just commonly lying around anymore. It was a really cool find. And then they also, just to top all that off, I found another Sonic Frontiers soundtrack, but this time they only wanted $90, which was a shit ton better price than the one I found previously at the other store back in Osaka. Now, if I had come to this particular store at the beginning of this trip, I would have walked out of this store with all 3 of these soundtracks. All 3 of them, without a doubt. Like, granted, they're all like $80, $90 each, but I would have been very happy paying all of that for all 3 of these. But for what I want to spend my budget on, and also to make sure I still have enough money to feed myself and get to A to B and also get to the fucking airport, I knew I had to be conservative with my money. So I decided to only walk out with 1. And I had to sit there for a moment and really think that. I already ruled out the Sonic Frontiers one by this point, because while this was a really damn good price, it's a more common one that I can find for generally a lot better price. It's not going to be the last time I see that one. However, the Sonic X and the Sonic Adventure soundtracks were a lot more uncommon and go for really stupid prices on eBay. So I had to put them both back, and I actually went to this little cafe to kind of sit down and eat quite possibly the largest fucking cookie I've ever eaten, and had this really nice milkshake too. It was like a mint cookie milkshake. It was really delicious. And I really had to think about what I was going to buy. But let's face it, I thought the answer was pretty goddamn obvious. This soundtrack is one of the coolest finds I found while I was over there. We were able to walk away from Japan with 2 Sonic soundtracks, which is very, very cool to me. Because this soundtrack has a big majority of the songs from the game. From Open Your Heart to all the character themes like It Doesn't Matter, Emerald Coast, Eggman's theme, and all of those, like, there was no better soundtrack to kind of end my time on Kyoto with, because this was just the best find I could have possibly made in Kyoto. And after tax, because remember, Surugaya is a tax-free. I ended up, even though this was like $90, I ended up paying like only $80 for this soundtrack, which was an even sweeter deal. Obviously, if I'd gotten maybe at least 1 more of them, I probably could have gotten a really solid deal. But honestly, I can't complain one bit about this. Not at all. This was a very cool find to end the day on. Today is my final day in Japan, and I do not have a lot of money left. What I wanted to do today was I wanted to go exclusively to all the Surugayas and the book-offs that I've been to, and see if I could find any last-minute solid deals. I didn't want to go to any Pokemon centers, any Nintendo stores, or whatever, because I know what I would find at those stores just would not be worth the price, with how little money I have left. So I've got about $70 free that I can spend without kind of going over and affecting too much of my food and transportation budgets, because I still need money to feed myself with, as well as I need money to make sure I can get to the airport to, you know, go fucking home. But I also wanted a little of extra money, because again, my suitcases are starting to get very heavy at this point, and I'm not quite sure if I've gotten over my luggage limit yet. So I also wanted to have that bit of extra money to make sure that if I was over, that I had the money to pay the excess limit. But the day before, I did come back from Kyoto quite early. I only spent about 3/3 of the day in Kyoto because I wanted to spend the rest of the afternoon kind of playing Tetris around with my carry-ons and my luggage to see how much more room I had left to kind of go with, to see if it was even worth going shopping at all today. And I did pretty damn well. A bit too well. To the point where I got pissed off. what I decided to do today was make a list. I would have a $70 budget, and I would make a small list of a lot of the things that I found around in the area that I really wanted to get before leaving the country. That way I could kind of make the most of it, but still walk away with some cool things that I could just say are great last minute purchases. The first item that hit my list was this soundtrack, complete soundtrack to Super Mario Odyssey. Now this was a really cool find to kind of have on this final day, as it was only $35, and on eBay you're looking at around $80 for this fella.
Now, I mainly came back here to see if the Mario Odyssey was still here, and it is. I'm going to leave it there for now, because a lot of these tour guides are actually incredibly close together. So it gives me some time to kind of think about how I want to utilize my budget, which is about $70 for today. Now, something that is right here that does catch my eye, which is cheap, is this live CD of a live performance for the Squid Sisters at, I believe, a Nintendo Live event. This is only $10. I'm thinking about it as well. That's been here the entire time I've been on this trip. I'm pretty sure the Mario Odyssey is only a recent kind of edition, because I don't recall seeing that last time I was here. Like obviously I saw it the other day, but I meant like before, when I was here from I was like when I first arrived. At the same time, you got pretty valuable ones over here, like the soundtrack to Persona 1, which are, I mean, I've never seen this before, so that's incredibly awesome to see. And Persona 2's, while I'm at it, that's only $45. Like, even though they're the weakest points in this series, or at least not the most talked about, that's for sure. No one really talks about its first two Personas. Probably 2 over 1, but still. You've got other really good ones. You've got like the complete soundtrack to Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is really cool. Personally, I don't care for the game itself. And as cool as this would be to own, it's only $50. I think that's just going to be pushing it with the weight limit. Like, I do have a few kilos to play with now, thanks to some adjusting. But I feel like that would be pushing it weight-wise.
One thing I did kind of do is I did go around to a bunch of trading card stores looking for professional wrestling cards, because obviously, like I said before, I found some really cool trading cards for the G1. But while I was also in Tokyo on my day back to Shinjuku, I also found a few AEW card sets, which I bought myself a set, and I bought my mom a set, and yeah, she might have gotten the better cards, but fuck you, I got MJF. But unfortunately I couldn't find anything. Nothing New Japan and nothing AEW, or definitely not anything WWE. Really, I couldn't find anything professional wrestling, besides obviously the small select of New Japan stuff that I could get at the G-Shop. But that also did remind me, maybe I should check the G-Shop to maybe see if they've got anything to celebrate post-G1, or just some new stock in general. And one thing I did buy that I pretty much bought straight away, I found this magazine, this Japanese wrestling magazine, that had Zack Sabre Jr. celebrating his G1 win on the front cover. And I mean, in my opinion, this was a no-brainer. And this wasn't that expensive either. I think this was like $6.50 or something like that along those lines. Yeah, it was $6.30. And I just thought that was a really solid purchase to make. I would love to meet Zack Sabre Jr. one day and maybe see if I can get him to sign this, or at the very least my shirt. But this was a no-brainer purchase for me. So yeah, this would be our first purchase on the final day in Japan. Something else that I also bought while I was kind of close to this area were these Dragon Ball art cards that I found that had Akira Toriyama's artwork on them. And honestly, I think the reason why I bought this was self-explanatory. Akira Toriyama was an absolute genius of a human being and really contributed a lot to Japanese culture. with his creations. We're talking about the guy that created Dragon Ball, that created all the designs for things like Dragon Quest and all these other things. That was taken from us far too soon. And I know I really wanted to make a purchase in honor of Akira Toriyama on this trip. I really didn't know what I wanted though. That was originally kind of why I got the Android 16 that I got a few days prior, because he's one of my favorite Dragon Ball characters. But I just thought these art cards were perfect. Now originally these were going to cost me like $23 or something to get. But I told the reason why I actually bought these cards to the store clerk, and I don't know if this was the reason why she did this. She actually gave me a couple of these things for free, which was really cool. So instead of paying like $20, I only paid 16 bucks. But anyway, for this point, I was pretty much just exploring at this point, and I went back to a few places. I went back to the book-offs that were in Namba and Dotonbori. Didn't really find anything that caught my eye. Like, there were a couple of things that kind of were like, oh, they're really cool, but they're either too big or they're pushing it when it comes to the budget. Then I walked into one particular Surugaya that was actually just behind my hotel. And it was one that I visited the other day, but I didn't realize had a second floor to it. So I explored the first floor and I found a few collector's editions that were very tempting, like this Persona 5 PS4 collector's edition that was only about 40 bucks, which was really well priced. Very tempting price. And had a few other collector's editions, and also had a copy of Persona 4 Arena Ultimate, which is a game that, again, we did not get physically here in Australia. And they only wanted like $30 for that. So I'm like, okay, that's one to kind of think about. But then I noticed they had the upstairs area, so I went, okay, let's go have a look. Maybe just see if there's anything up there. And then I find this. I found this really cool figure of Cloud from Final Fantasy and his bike from Advent Child. And they only want $105 for it. Fuck me. This thing is really, really cool. Why the fuck do I keep doing this to myself, man? Just come on. Fuck. This threw a monkey wrench into my whole plan, because not only I'm already starting to spend the $70 limit that I kind of put with myself today, but then I find the most perfect fucking thing to end my trip on, and it's this massive fucking figure, complete in box. And yeah, the box was a little rough at the edge for an action figure that came out in the late fucking 90s. I really had to think about this one.
Okay, essentially, here's the plan. I'm going to wander around for just a little more, not too much though, as I'm going to go back to the hotel and I'm going to sort through my bag, because I want to try and make that Final Fantasy VII figure work. I know it's way over the damn budget for what I originally intended. However, with the newly found free weight in my bag, I think I can make it work. Because I looked online, it said about 1.8 kilos. I'm going to round it up and say 2, just to be cautious. While I was in there, I did find this little tin from my mother, so I'll add that to the thing as well. So that's about, let's see, 21, 22, 23, 24, 30. 24, 30. I am going to go back to the hotel at some point, and I'm going to be playing the best fucking Tetris of my life.
So I went straight back to the hotel. I pretty much went straight back to the hotel after discovering that Cloud figure. I said in the video I wanted to go look around more. I pretty much just went straight back. And, well...
Okay, I'm back at the hotel. I pretty much came straight back. And I've gone through all all the stuff I've got. And I have just enough space to go back to that Suragaya and get Cloud. I've got the money, and I now have the space.
So now I know the Cloud figure is possible. Like, it will fit into the suitcase, which, you know, also means I could have gone that Kaido the other day, but you know what, I beg to fucking differ. This was also a very big purchase, a very expensive purchase. That I do know I'll get tax-free on. So this would roughly cost, like, you know, not as much. It would get it below the 100 mark. I knew that much at least. But I basically had two choices presented in front of me. Option A was I play it safe, and I utilized the rest of my $70 budget to get a bit of a mixture of different games and soundtracks that I discovered during today's expedition. The other option was to just say, fuck it, get it, and pray to God I don't go over my weight limit. And that's a big gamble, because this purchase is also going to take quite a lot of that baggage like budget from me as well. That if I go over, I'm not going to have a lot to go off, so I'm going to have to be very conservative with my travel allowance and my food budget going forward to make sure that if I do go over, that I'm going to be fine. It was a complete gamble, but the choice was clear.
At the end of the day, the choice was incredibly easy. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Yep, I'm fucking committing to this. Bring it home. Weigh it with all my luggage. And holy shit. I'm under. By a single fucking kilo. Oh my god. That was so fucking close. But here she is. In all of her beautiful glory. This thing is so fucking cool. And is definitely one of the coolest video game related purchases I made on this trip altogether. And was definitely the best final choice I could have made coming out of this trip. This is without a doubt, this was the final thing I bought while I was over there. I did not buy a single thing afterwards because I just could not risk it. I just told you guys. I am now under by a single fucking kilo. If even a fly lands on this thing, I could be fucked. But generally, I could not think of a better purchase that I could end this trip on. Final Fantasy VII is roundly renowned as one of the greatest RPGs to ever come out of Japan. One of the greatest RPGs of all time. And even before these remakes, it was highly regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time. Especially for its time, like in the very late 90s, coming out on the PlayStation 1. This game was revolutionary. And I'll admit, I didn't start playing Final Fantasy VII until the remake came out. I haven't even touched the original game because I don't want to risk ruining the remake for myself. But the more I'm kind of thinking about it, the more I'm like, okay, maybe I should go back and play the original before the third one comes out and just kind of experience the thing. But that's a discussion for another day. But let me know what you think I should be doing in the comments below. But the mere fact that I found this thing at all, and like, I went to the home of Final Fantasy VII, technically. I went to the building that this fucking game was born in. So, really, I could not think of a better purchase to end this absolutely incredible trip on. And what a trip it's been. I got to see some absolutely beautiful sights and just have the absolute time of my life. Seriously, if you are a gamer, a lover of anime, a lover of pop culture, or just want somewhere to go for a really lovely holiday, please pick Japan. Please pick Japan. I promise you, you will never ever regret that choice. I've been really lucky on this trip to have some absolutely great experiences and bought some really cool stuff. And yeah, while we did have a few L's along the way, that will help me reflect to what I do on my next trip, because I am definitely going to come back one day. I was able to relax, explore, dream a beautiful fantasy, and most importantly, kind of feel fulfillment and meaning. I can't wait for the day I get to come back here. The day I get to come back to this country couldn't come soon enough. But until next time, see you later, Japan, and see you guys again very soon. Later, lads.